Look, this is LeBron rumor number 1.4 million. I know that. And I feel like I've done at least 12 shows where we ask Warrior fans, would you want LeBron on the team? And then here comes the lines all light up, and everyone's like, no, we do not want LeBron on this team.
I've always been Dr. No. Shout out James Bond 007. I've always been at the head of that line. Mm-hmm. Dr. No.
Here's LeBron last night on the podium.
I like to say it's a successful year because I don't play for anything besides winning championships at this point in my career, and I don't get a kick out of making a conference appearance. I've done it a lot, and it's not fun to me to not be able to be a part of getting to the finals, but we'll see what happens going forward. But I don't know. I got a lot to think about, to be honest. And just for me personally, going forward with the game of basketball, I got a lot to think about.
That's 3. I got a lot to think about.
Yeah.
In the offseason. He was directly asked later, is retirement on the table? And he essentially said, yeah. Yeah. What do you think he's doing there? What do you think he's doing? Because I don't think there's any way in hell that LeBron has played his last basketball game.
No, I think he's planting a seed of doubt in the Lakers organization, and he's also planting a seed of hope in every other organization that might want to acquire LeBron James, because the article in The Ringer laid out 4 possible scenarios, and I think a couple of them are nonsensical, but they're out there. One is he retires for good. One is he comes back to the Lakers. One is he sits a year, becomes a big-time USC fan, and then returns to the association, maybe with his son in tow. And the other one he threw out there was he becomes a Golden State Warrior. And that's the one that I think is most intriguing. And I mentioned before you played that sound, Mark, that I've always been Dr. No when it comes to LeBron James. But as we sit right now, with the big 3 most likely coming back, why not bring in LeBron James?
So
I'm now team yes on LeBron. Bring him in.
I'm glad you just said that, because the only thing I can do ever with you, with our listeners, with the people around me in my life is just be straight honest with where I'm at in that moment.
You've always been authentic, Mark.
And that may mean that I say the exact opposite thing tomorrow that I said today. Remember when I was so mad at the Giants for not getting Carlos Correa? And today I'm like, super cool that they didn't get Carlos Correa.
You're wearing a Giants shirt, and you had a new sweatshirt on earlier.
It is new. Of
course
it's freshly washed.
I
also.
saw it.
Yeah. It's been in my trunk for about a month.
Waiting for him to start winning.
Warriors playoffs.
Waiting for wins. I see you.
I'm over here stacking wins, okay?
Thank you.
That's what we're doing.
You're not chasing wins.
We're stacking W's.
Coach. Yeah.
So I read this morning, and it was almost as if I surprised myself. I read it, and I'm like, I'm open to this. I'm open to this for the first time in my life. And then I wanted to explore why. Why am I open to this now? I was never open to it before, and the reasons were numerous and obvious as to why I wasn't into it before. I don't want LeBron coming in here and taking the shine off of Steph Curry. If Steph Curry wins rings with LeBron, do they even count? It would be a bigger version of what people said 7 years ago. And it's like, this isn't even fair. Kevin Durant's on the team. Of course you win a ring. And it took something away from the whole process. Plus, it's not Kevin, it's LeBron. We don't like LeBron
he's
as much.
Enemy number one.
He's not for me. He's
right.
not for me.
Historically, he's always been the enemy, especially after this year when he knocked you out.
I got nothing against LeBron James, but bringing him in is filled with so much baggage. And now he's going to be 39 years old. And so you're like, why would we do this? And it feels like fodder and not real and all of that. But then today, I read this, and I go, are we looking at this backwards? I know people have been playful with the rumor for 6 months. Draymond's going to the Lakers. Because Draymond, that's his boy.
Yep.
LeBron's his boy. And they hugged. I saw them hug. They smiled, and they hugged, and they have Clutch, the same agency, and they are BFF forever. Draymond is going to the Lakers. Then Draymond finds a microphone and goes, I don't ever, ever, ever want to leave the Golden State Warriors. So are we looking at this backwards?
Yes.
Instead of Draymond to the Lakers, is it LeBron to the Warriors? And those of you who are waiting for us to tell you how this would work, stay right there, because we will.
It's workable, and I think the way it's workable, it's twofold. One would be LeBron James is disgruntled with his current running mate, and I think that's that's the easier part of this two-pronged plan.
That's a maybe,
You look
yeah.
at Anthony Davis, alternate days, which I thought was genius, whoever said that on Twitter the first time. That's kind of what Anthony Davis is, and in the biggest game of the year, an elimination game for the Lakers, Anthony Davis was a non-factor. And LeBron James had 40, 10, and 9 and did everything he could to will his team to victory. The other piece of it, what would it take? Well, go ahead and start your list and add to it and pile on whatever you need to pile on. And I'm in the same mindset of you, Mark. When I read it earlier today, the piece from Kevin O'Connell, I think, from The Ringer.
Kevin O'Connor, yes.
And Kevin O'Connor.
Yeah.
And the Irish names, they throw me.
Ner.
As I was getting through it, I got to the end, and it mentioned option 4, he comes to the Warriors. And for the first time, I thought about it, and I realized that I'm now ready for what that reality would be like. Because, Mark, I want another championship for the Big Three. I would love to have the Big Three win another championship. And if it took Wiggins, Moody, Poole, Kuminga, and a couple of first-round picks to be named later, and I don't know if it would take all that, but let's just ballpark it and say that. If it would take your future to have one more, maybe 2 more runs at a championship, then you know what? I'm here for it, and I've always admired the way LeBron plays. There's a lot about LeBron that I don't necessarily like, the LaFlop, the LaCry, and some of his histrionics. But if you bring LeBron in, you could load manage him through the regular year, which you do anyway with the majority of your team, and you imagine a core of your starting 5 of Steph, Clay, Dre, LeBron, and Looney, and then you got GP2 and whoever else off the bench, and some of the young pups and some vet mins you bring in. I'm here for it, Mark. Let's see what that would be like. How fun would that be for a year or two?
Well, you say year or two. I think it's important for a Warrior fan to remember. Something like this would require you saying all the chips are in the middle of the table for 1 year. 1 year. The deal after that is an opt-in by LeBron, and would he or would he not, based on Bronny and where his son is drafted, or even if his son is drafted or whatever. He has openly said that already, so we know that's a big part of it. I don't know but if you're one of these fans who also says, look, all you got to do, you got to maximize the end of Steph's career. You got to maximize the end of the Big Three's career. Is this not that? Is it not that? Listen to what O'Connor says about Draymond, who's already stated, I want to be a Warriors, and I want to be a Warriors forever. He says, how soon until Draymond is on the phone recruiting LeBron? Did it already happen last night? Will it happen before the finals start next Thursday? No one needs a source to tell you those conversations will happen if they haven't already. So Draymond on the phone to LeBron about Golden State is already going to happen. Now keep a couple other things in mind. It was just a handful of months ago that on LeBron's TV show, The Shop, he was asked, hey, who's the one player you haven't played with yet who you'd like to play with? The answer was quick and swift. The answer was Steph Curry, Golden State Warriors. Now, our own Steiny and Goop pitched that to Steph just a number of weeks ago, and he kind of gave that's an honor, but I'm good. I'm good right now. Right, because you're in the middle of the season. You have current teammates that you're not trying to offend. You're trying to go win with what you got. We're not at that point anymore. We're now in an off season, and it's an off season with a disappointing finish. So O'Connor writes that the deal might look something like this, because you mentioned Wiggins. What if it didn't include Wiggins? What if your trade were Poole, Kuminga, Moody, and a truck full of whatever draft picks the Lakers want. What if that was the deal? What do you say?
Then you're absolutely a yes. I can't imagine the Lakers wanting to do that deal without Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins at that price is a very valuable, he'd be the most valuable piece in that trade, in my opinion. The fact that Andrew Wiggins is not even 30 and he's under team control for 4 more years. If the Lakers were to do this trade, they would be doing it largely to start a rebuild. And when you're going to rebuild, for me, if I'm Rob Pelinka, I would rather have Andrew Wiggins at $24 million-ish for the next 4 years than I would Jordan Poole at his salary, than I would Kuminga or Moody or draft picks that I don't know how those are going to work out.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, you're basically I mean, it's funny to say this. The money almost gets too high in the Warriors' direction if you've got Poole and Wiggins in there, because you add those two salaries together, you're already north of 50. LeBron is at 46 for next year. So if you're adding anybody, now if it was just those two, okay, maybe. But if I'm the Lakers and you're saying, look, our best player's about to turn 39 years old, what do you want? We want young assets. Don't you want, sure, Jordan Poole, you know that's going to be a part of it. Don't you want Jonathan Kuminga? Don't you want a bunch of picks? Especially if those picks are years from now, after Steph and the big three are gone, where the Warriors, if they were to make a move like this, in theory, could be bad. They could be a bad team.
Yeah, so if you get the pick in, let's just say 28 and 30, because you can't do back-to-back years, so you get the Warriors' first-round pick in 2028 and 2030, then maybe you feel like those would be lottery picks because LeBron, Steph, Clay, and Dre would all likely be gone from the Warriors. So that is definitely an asset, but draft picks aren't as valuable as known commodities, and if you really believe Jordan Poole is that known commodity, then he's probably the centerpiece of the deal. I don't know if Jonathan Kuminga would be if I'm Rob Pelinka. I would want Wiggins over Kuminga or Moody.
Interesting. I mean, that changes the financial structure. It probably changes the picks that are attached. Because that's a guy who was an all-star last year. You're talking about two guys that put up numbers. I mean, Poole
and it becomes kind of like
Wiggins.
the Aaron Rodgers trade with the Jets in terms of the Jets didn't have to give as much, knowing that Aaron Rodgers was only going to be there for a year or two. Right. So this similarly, you wouldn't maybe have to give up as much to get LeBron, especially if LeBron was as disgruntled as he could possibly be.
Yeah, I think one of the things to keep in mind here when you throw this out is like, all right, LeBron, he dropped retirement into the soup last night. Nobody had that. Nobody was talking about LeBron retiring at the end of this year. And by the way, nobody thinks he is.
Right.
So you got to ask yourself, why would he do that? Dummy. He knows exactly the way that we're going to respond to all this. So why would he do that? In my mind, the only reason you do that is because you are in some way, shape, or form disappointed with the current state of the Lakers. Because the only reason to drop retirement as an option is you're under contract next year. So what's your leverage? Your leverage is to say, I might not play at all. So either trade me there or I'm not playing. It's the only way to create leverage when you're under contract. And someone of his size, and I don't mean that in terms of like 6'8", I mean someone of his presence in the NBA can do that. It's how many players have gotten to a certain spot. Not necessarily threatening retirement, but threatening holding out, threatening not re-signing. Anthony Davis, once upon a time, was someone who was traded who said, no, don't just trade me there. You have to trade me there. I am publicly going to state I will not re-sign with any team other than the Los Angeles Lakers. So you can force your way.
Sure.
And to me, that felt like step one by LeBron. I don't know if it's here, but forcing his way somewhere.
Well, where else would he want to be? And let's think about this in terms of what he wants. And you heard the quote, you played it. He wants to compete for a championship. He's not here to compete for conference championships and get swept by Denver in the last 4 in the association. That to him was a failed year. He wants to win a championship. What team? And he already mentioned that Steph Curry is the player that he'd most like to play with. So you look at the Warriors, are they a LeBron away from being a favorite in the Western Conference? I would say yes, they are.
Yeah.
LeBron has made, in his career on the floor, $435 million. He's getting 53.4 next year. So that's the number the Warriors would have to work off of in terms of salary match, 25%, I think, either way of that. So you could give the Lakers about $60 million in salary, which would be Poole, Kuminga, and Andrew Wiggins next year.
And Wiggins, yeah. I mean, I do look at any major deal that the Warriors might make this offseason and think about money because the Warriors are going to want to trim. So they probably do want to give more money than they get back. And by the way, you mentioned that starting lineup. If Andrew Wiggins is still here, I don't know. I'm sorry. Is LeBron the sixth man? Build your starting lineup. Who's going to the bench? Who's going to the bench if Andrew's still here?
It's Wiggins.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
is that your sixth man?
What a six-man that would be.
I mean, it'd be great.
I can't imagine the trade happening without Andrew Wiggins being a part of it. And LeBron already famously traded Andrew Wiggins when Wiggins was a rookie in Cleveland.
Good point.
LeBron put eyes on him and was like, no, that's going to do it.
See, and I didn't look at it that way. I look at that the same way I look at the Warriors this year. And it bothers fans, and I understand why, but just keep it in mind. When you are the Steve Kerrs, the Steph Currys, the Draymond Greens, the LeBron Jameses of the world, you ain't want no rookie. You don't want a rookie. I don't want a 20-year-old to help because they mess up. Has anybody got teenagers at their house?
LeBron's got a couple of them.
They mess up. They mess up all the time. So if I'm Steph Curry, the same way LeBron was like, I'll take Kevin Love. I don't want Andrew Wiggins. I want someone who is grown and knows what they're doing. Wiggins may be dynamic. Kuminga may be dynamic. But you're trying to win a championship right now. There's no time to be waiting for 21st birthdays. That's not the way NBA superstars think.
Well, I think the Lakers would have the same mindset, quite frankly, because they won a championship, a bubble chip, with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. It wasn't with a bunch of young players. So you look at their roster, and they don't have a lot of guys under contract. So if you are going to part ways with LeBron James and you're going to start a bit of a reboot, you don't want to go with all rookies and draft picks. That's not going to fly down in Los Angeles. Rob Pelinka probably wants to keep his job. So you're not trading LeBron without getting some marketable assets back in the immediate future.
You're right, but remember, if there's a LeBron trade, no one is ever going to be like, Rob, why'd you trade LeBron? It'll come down to LeBron got traded because LeBron wanted to be traded. And yes. LeBron has the power to do that. Remember when he was a free agent from Cleveland going to Miami? Momo told me that she had talked.
Ramona Shelburne,
friend
of the program.
Thank you.
Yep.
Momo told me that, and I'm pretty sure she was talking about at the time, whoever LeBron's agent was. And she said, people are, oh my gosh, where's he going to go? And the question got posed, well, how many teams could even make it work? And the agent was like, are you kidding me? They all could. And if LeBron said he wanted to play in Las Vegas, the NBA would create a team. LeBron goes where LeBron wants to go.
Right.
Period. And that's the end of that book.
So if that is the way the book is going to be written, and LeBron wants to go somewhere where he can win, because that's what he said, and I fully believe that that's what LeBron James wants, then this is the place that he would want to go to. I agree with you. You can look at Miami. Miami's going to be in the NBA Finals. Miami would be a great destination, but he's going to have to work hard in Miami. Steiny made a great point yesterday on their show about the culture in Miami being the best culture in the association, but it's one where you show up and Jimmy Butler holds your feet to the fire. And LeBron actually said, I think in that same piece in the shop, about he would love to have Draymond get in his business and bark at him, but that's different because Draymond's one of his closest friends. That's not Jimmy Butler coming at you and Spoelstra and Pat Riley and the rest of them.
Is anybody else where we are? 888-957-9570. Is this hitting you different today than it ever has before? It's hitting me different. Sounds like it's hitting you different.
Oh, for sure.
I've never in my life been open to the idea of LeBron James to the Golden State Warriors, and it got thrown out today, and instead of saying, hell no, I went, Now, not too many weeks ago, Steiny and Goo are talking to the chef. And they played directly to him LeBron's comments on the shop and listened to what was said.
You hear what your boy said?
Who, my boy?
Take a listen.
Who else you want to play with? In today's game, Steph Curry. Steph Curry's the one that I want to play with.
Oh, shoot.
The chef. You know what? Hey, he might want to play with you next weekend now.
That is phenomenal. When did he say that? Was that on the shop?
Yeah.
I guess the latest one, yeah.
No. Well, we got his wish. So he's the captain. He's picked me the last two All-Star games. So I don't know if that suffices, but I'm good right now.
How's that make you feel, though?
Good right now. I mean, whenever you get the interest or curiosity of what it would be like to play with, arguably, MVP kind of caliber dude like he is, and one greatest of all time. Cool. Like, it's amazing. Right. We all can live in that fantasy world, though.
Okay. That was right before the playoffs started last year, and the Warriors did what? I seem to remember that's right. They went and won a championship. So when he says, I'm good right now, that doesn't mean now.
Oh, I bet you he's less good now than he was then.
That was then.
Yeah.
And he's not as good now. And there are two things that have happened since then. One, the Warriors got beat, and two, the Warriors got beat by him.
Right. And three, they all are looking now at the abyss and the end of days. Steph's got 3 years, Draymond has an option, and Klay's got 1 year. So if you could make this happen, you could see Klay going to management and saying, yeah, I'll play for half. And you could see Draymond picking up his player option and then saying, yeah, I'll get less, knowing that we got LeBron coming. If you want Klay to take a massive pay cut and stay, and you want Draymond to ink a team-friendly deal and stay, then LeBron comes in for 1+1 and he's here?
Or how do you get Draymond to just opt in? Oh, well, LeBron's going to come be your teammate.
Yeah.
Opt in 1 year, but she gets to play with LeBron.
Right?
And then after next year, what comes off the books? LeBron, Draymond, and Klay. And you could go that route.
Or they all stay on the books.
Or right.
And if you want Joe Lacob to do $400 million,
this is how you do it.
Thank you.
This is exactly how you do it.